Hello, I'm Dr. Q. In this session, we'll discuss the multiplier effect. Question: if one gets more disposable income, which is the income after tax. For example, if a realtor sells more houses this month, what will he or she do? If he or she spends more money because of more income, where does the money he or she spends go? For example, realtor Tracy earned $10,000 from selling houses this month. She saved $2,000 and spent $8,000. For this $8,000, she spent some on buying a cruise package for the family. The cruise agent Jessie received $8,000 as commission. Then she saved $1,600 and spent $6,400 on a down payment on a new car. The car dealer received $6,400, saved $1,280, and spent $5,120, etc. From this example, we can tell that those changes in spending ripple through the economy to generate even larger changes in real GDP. This is called the multiplier effect. It occurs because of the interconnectedness of the economy. So here are some facts about the multiplier effect. First of all, the economy has continuous flows of expenditures and income, which is called a ripple effect. For example, the income received by J comes from the money spent by Joe. Joe's income, in turn, came from money spent by John, and so forth. 2. Any income change will cause consumption and saving to vary in the same direction as the initial change in income and by a fraction of that change. Then the fraction of the change in income spent or on expenditure is called the marginal propensity to consume, or MPC. The fraction of the change in saved income, the savings, is called the marginal propensity to save, or MPS. Why do we care about the multiplier effect? We care about the multiplier effect because a change in spending changes real GDP more than the initial change in spending. The multiplier can be calculated as the change in real GDP divided by the initial change in spending. Alternatively, it can be rearranged as the following. The change in real GDP is equal to the multiplier multiply the initial change in spending. This is an illustration. This is a setting of for each dollar one receives, he or she spent 75 cents and saved 25 cents. So marginal propensity to consume is 0.75 and the marginal propensity to save is 0.25. So if there's an increase in investment or income for $5, we'll save $1.25 and spend $3.75. Then this spending of $3.75 become next person's income, increase in income. The next person save 94 cents and spend $2.81. This $2.81 becomes the third person's income, and so on and so forth. If you do a summation of everything over here, the change in income total will be $20. $15 go to spending and $5 go to saving. This is a cumulative illustration of the activity. There is a formula to calculate all other rounds of change in income and marginal propensity to consumption and marginal propensity to saving. Here we just get it as the data and do our calculation. The multiplier and the marginal propensity to consume are directly or positively related. The larger the marginal propensity to consumption, the bigger the multiplier effect. While multiplier and the marginal propensity to save are inversely or negatively related. The more one saves, the smaller the multiplier effect. Multipliers can be calculated by the inverse of the marginal propensity to save. The fraction of change in spending and the fraction of change in saving sum up to 1. So the multiplier can also be calculated as the inverse of 1 minus the marginal propensity to save, marginal propensity to consume. This figure further shows the relationship between the marginal propensity to consume and the multiplier. If the marginal propensity to consumption is 0.9, the multiplier is 10. If the marginal propensity to consumption is 0.8, the multiplier is 5. The marginal propensity to consume is 0.75. The multiplier is 4. The real-world multiplier in the United States is much smaller than the example illustrated here. It's estimated to be between 2.5 and 0. This is because in the US economy, there are other leakages from the spending and income cycle besides just saving. Imports and taxes reduce the flow of money back into spending on domestically produced output, reducing the multiplier effect. Also, increases in spending can drive up prices, resulting in inflation, and at higher prices, any given amount of spending will buy less actual output. The multiplier has a lower bound of 0. The multiplier works in both directions. We just give examples of going up. It can also go down. For example, one person in a town decides not to buy a product. This creates a ripple effect of people not spending following the first decision. Ultimately, the entire town experiences an economic downturn. So one of the government job is to make sure the aggregate demand is strong and persistent uh, without big shock of discouraging demand or spending. Here's a practice. Please pause and come back. All right, this is the answer. The multiplier formula is the numerator is the change in real GDP, and denominator is initial change in spending. So given the change in GDP 100 billion and spending 25 billion, the ratio of the two, division of the two is 4. So the multiplier is 4. And according to the form relationship between multiplier and the marginal propensity to consume, it is the inverse of 1 minus marginal propensity to consume. So we can get the marginal propensity to consume is 3 quarters. Alternatively, we can say 4 is the inverse of marginal propensity to saving. Marginal propensity to save is 0.25, a quarter. A summation of marginal propensity to save and marginal propensity to consumption is 1. So MPC is 0.75. Alright, that's all for the multiplier effect. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.